Denver Broncos have signed assistant GM, long-term assistant GM at that, of the Minnesota Vikings, George Paton. He spent 13 years with the Minnesota Vikings, and he signed a 6-year deal with the Denver Broncos. And this was announced yesterday, and this was reported by Jeff Legwold, ESPN senior writer. Nate, I'll start off with you first. Your thoughts on George Paton, and I'll get to my thoughts because I know a lot about him. But I want your thoughts first.
Well, congratulations to George Paton on being the next Broncos general manager. He's going to be joined with John Elway, who a lot of people don't think is a smart front office man. I really think he is. I think he knows what to do with the Denver Broncos. It's just he hasn't really had the best of luck in these past few years. But with George Paton, especially, despite the lack of success with the Vikings, he's done a really good job drafting very great talent, acquiring all these talented players. And he did have a few successful seasons. So I can see it translating over to the Denver Broncos. I mean, Denver Broncos have a very underrated defense whenever it's clicking. Offense, I can't really say the same, but I'm sure you draft or acquire some talent on offense, you can get that offense going too. So I mean, I'm sure he'll do the job. I'm sure he'll do the job relatively well.
Let me tell you something. George Paton, when it comes to drafting, this man is a genius. Let me tell you the people this dude's drafted, okay? Think about everybody on the Minnesota Vikings right now. Think about all the Pro Bowls you can think of, okay? Think about it. Think about Adam Thielen, okay? He didn't draft him, but they signed him, okay? Justin Jefferson, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith, okay? Now let's go to the guys he used to have. Cordero Patterson, Xavier Rhodes,
Six.
Linval Joseph, he signed him, Pro Bowler. Dalvin Cook, let's not forget about Dalvin Cook. Obviously, he signed Kirk. Trying to think. Now you know who the number one guy I really put on my list? This man drafted Adrian Peterson.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he also draft Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs. This guy is a genius at drafting. Like, I cannot explain it. 13 years of Minnesota Viking draft picks. And they honestly, a lot of Daniil Hunter, Everson Griffin, you name it, he's drafted it. Kyle Rudolph. I'm sorry, he's drafted so many great players for this team. And honestly, I can't thank George Paton more. I can't thank him enough because this guy has been one of the biggest brains in the Minnesota Vikings game. And John Elway made a statement. And this statement by Elway was, early in this process, it became clear why George had become such a coveted GM candidate for so many years. He's a proven evaluator who knows every detail of leading football operations. And then Elway also said, with his experience in all aspects of the job, the college and pro side, salary cap, trades, working with head coach, and bringing the staff together, George is more than ready to succeed in the NFL. George has waited and worked for the right opportunity, which shows that he is smart and serious about winning. We're thrilled to name George Paton as general manager of the Denver Broncos. John Elway made a very great decision. Okay. Now, a couple of problems I have with George Paton. Number one, our salary cap has not been the greatest. Okay. I believe that a lot of money was spent on Kirk for no reason. I'm not saying that he wasn't worth it or not. No. That's all I'm saying. Don't get me twisted. Okay. I don't want to say that Kirk Cousins was not worth his money. That's not what I'm saying. Even though, it's a high contract. I'm not going to say that. My point to this is a contract of 2 years and $66 million. That's a very, very big contract. And a lot of our cap space started going down. It starts going. We have a lot of problems with cap space. So really, when you look at it, we've had it for so many times, which is why you see players right now, or even former players like Everson Griffin, Eric Kendricks, they started taking pay cuts so other guys can get contracts. So that's a big problem right there that I think the Denver Broncos, hopefully they don't face, but we will see. But as for drafting, this is the right guy you want. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Denver is kind of hit under the drafts. I mean, Jerry Jeudy could be very promising. Noah Fant is very promising. Nick Chubb is very promising. So they do have some promising guys, and I think George Paton can add to that because he has such an elite history of draft prospects and guys he has drafted. But again, it all comes to the coaching on evaluating them big enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could draft Stephon Diggs, Daniil Hunter. You could draft Adrian Peterson, Dalvin Cook. You could draft all these guys. You can sign Adam Thielen, but guess what? Unless they actually perform, then it's not. Then it doesn't mean anything. And that's the coach's job to make sure that they perform to their peak and their potential. But George Patton is very good at finding guys who not many people know about. He's very good at making steals. I've seen it so many times throughout my life watching the Minnesota Vikings, and I think that the Denver Broncos really hit the jackpot with George Patton. And before we go to you, Nate, I just want to say, back to you. I just want to say thank you to George Patton for the 13 years you have spent with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it goes all back to what I said in the beginning. How everybody says John Elway is not a smart front office worker for the Denver Broncos. He sure as hell is. I mean, look at who we just brought in, and like you said, all those guys that we named that George Patton drafted. And one thing I feel bad for George Patton, he got all that talent, and the Vikings still couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. So I feel bad for that. But that doesn't stop the fact that this dude can draft some talent. He's very smart. He knows who to look into if he wants to draft this guy and that guy. He knows what he's doing. And John Elway was very, very smart in picking this dude. So with that said, congratulations to George Patton, congratulations to the Denver Broncos, and I'm sure Mario and I are excited to see how this goes.